How's it going, guys? What of course you'll be seeing today is a free-for-all match in Destiny in the PvP mode, which in a separate video I can make about later on down the road talks about the pros and cons of it, such as the quote-unquote netcode issues, the small maps, the spawns, etc. Basically the same issues that every single game has had, especially in PvP in, God knows, recent memory. No exception. And I will admit the netcode is definitely or the quote-unquote netcode, I hate that term, is basically something that could probably use some work. But again, this game's only been out a couple of weeks. Battlefield 4's netcode is still shit, and that game's been out for nearly a year. So if you're going to rag on Destiny for a week or two of problems, which understandably you'd want the game to be as good as possible the second that you pop it in your console, I get that expectation. I'm that kind of person too. The problem is, that's not how it works. That's not how video games work anymore, and everyone knows this. So if you're willing to put up with something that, at the very least, still works, because I still had a pretty damn amount of good fun despite it being a little bit laggy at times. That may be an understatement, but again, your subjective opinion could be brought forth on that point. That being said, yes, I still have enjoyed myself quite a bit playing this game. Like Battlefield 4 didn't work for me for months, so a game that works for me despite it being a little bit laggy is something I can deal with, and I've had a lot of fun. The one thing I was going to talk about today is basically some free-for-all tactics I've noticed that work a lot. And again, these are probably going to be tactics you've heard before or that aren't specific to this game, so it's not a big significant deal, but maybe it'll help someone new to the game who's struggling. So if it isn't helping you and that's new, that's fine. Don't shoot the messenger. Everyone is at a different skill level, and maybe you can just watch the video, or maybe you could turn it off. I don't really care. We'll see. Who cares? We'll go with it. First thing I like to do in free-for-all is the first thing you should probably do is pick an area. That's number one. The maps are quite small, so your encounters will be plentiful, even if you just lock down a particular area. That's a guarantee. And because you're always on the minimap, you always should be basically planning for the next encounter. I'm surprised that guy didn't get me. But yeah, again, because you're on the minimap all the time, basically people are always going to be on the search for you, and everyone likes to run around. And because of that, you can use and exploit that to your advantage. Someone who's stationary and basically waiting for a guy to pop up into his area is going to have a definitive advantage 100% of the time, because you'll have the first shot and you'll have the first view of him despite him seeing you on the minimap. So play that to your advantage. Play an area, move around within that area, because you see me sort of holding the back right quadrant here, and that's the success I usually have in free-for-all anyway, of picking this area and this quadrant. Some will call it camping, I'd call you stupid. So we're at a good reasoning here. But we could sit in that area and basically patrol this particular area. You controlling your engagements, you're controlling who faces you, and you're controlling the angle that comes to you. And if you try and argue that logic with camping again, I'll just call you stupid again. But anyway, another big key I like with it is to always pick up the ammo that's given to you. If it's special, if it's heavy, pick it up regardless, as long as you're not really leaving your area. Because I've had lots of good matches in free-for-all where I'm always running around. The biggest issue is because the maps are small and you're always on the minimap, like I said, and watch this lag. Oh yeah, look at that lag. The big issue I have a lot of the time, like I said, is because the maps are small and you're always on the minimap, there will be times when you're running around and like sort of playing it like you would Call of Duty, you're going to be killed. Like, I don't give a shit how good you are, you're going to die. So controlling your engagements in your area pretty much ensures that if you do die, that you die because you've screwed up instead of you're dying because you happen to switch areas. Like what I'm doing here, I'm moving around too much. The other issue, of course, as I see that, is you should know your weapon's ranges, and you should know the strengths of your weapon before you even think about doing an engagement. This particular weapon I hear is called Shadow Play, great assault rifle before it probably ends up getting nerfed. But it's fantastic in the medium and longer range, and you could, if you burst fire it too, which you don't even need to. If you burst fire it as well, it's basically a laser beam. So stick in the engagements and play your engagement ranges to their strengths. Shotguns in this case are only supposed to be close quarters use. You can use your special as well. Because I figured I was going to be in longer range engagements instead of like the shorter ones, of course, like I was talking about earlier, I chose Gunslinger instead of Blade Dancer, because Blade Dancer would have taken me out of my area with no guarantee of getting the kill, versus using Gunslinger that I stay in the medium range and one hit equals one kill. So it was the choice I went with, though Blade Dancer definitely wouldn't have been a bad one. That's not to say it would have been a bad one. But again, switching weapons to make sure that you know your engagements is the other big key. So summing up, just so that I don't forget any points, is basically... And the other thing is always aim for the head, but again, that one is pretty much any FPS in existence has ever told you this, and anyone who played an FPS understands that's what you're supposed to do. So as much as it's general basic logic, I feel it is worth at least mentioning, so that when someone says, hey, well, why didn't you say aim for the head? Because, well, there you go. It's sort of logic that you probably shouldn't even state. But to sum up, yes. Weapons count. Shotguns should probably be used in close quarters engagements. Play your shotguns to the particular maps. This one here has a lot of different mix between short and medium engagements. I was staying in that area, like I said, so I could control the engagements. I could control how far the engagements were, and that in turn not only controls basically where and when I'm going to be able to shoot from, but it also controls the range at which I'm going to be. If I was going to push forward into that area, I might break out the shotgun. If I wasn't, then I wouldn't. But other maps, you could go almost specifically shotgun exclusive. So play the weapon to the map, not the other way around. Well, you know what I mean. And the other thing is always pick up the ammo, because even if you pick up the heavy ammo, that means the other team can't get it, even if you don't plan on using it, so it's hardly an issue there. And like I said, basically for the third time, control your engagements, control your area, and use your super when you have it, because the second you can save, if you're close to the end, you can save it toward the end like I do. But if you use your super early on, the faster you use it, the faster you can get a second wave of it doing it later, so it doesn't make a lot of sense as long as it's near the end of the match to hold on to it. And I think I get the kill with the super, actually. Yep, there you go. I'm going to post more, of course, and, well, hopefully you enjoy it. See you later.